Pro Boxing Fans here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we're here fight week with a fighter that you really like, somebody that you've known, you've sort of pushed, and it's helped female boxing. Katie Taylor, just talk to me about her against Karen Carabajal. Just to talk to me about Katie Taylor's journey and where she's at right now.
Well, she's just a shining light for the sport. You know, we've had a rough couple of weeks, and when you see fighters like her come through, should be a tough fight. You know, I think Carabajal's 19-0 mandatory challenger. You know, she's going to be up for this fight. Katie Taylor is just coming off the back of a tremendous performance against Amanda Serrano. She's back to the scene of her professional debut at Wembley. Going to have a big crowd there on Saturday night. Great card as well, and looking forward to seeing her back in action.
Jake Paul spoke to DAZN yesterday or the day before, said, listen, we're talking, we're nearly there. Money's got to be right for the rematch. Where are we at in regards to that rematch?
Yeah, we're definitely not nearly there, but you know, we're starting to hear more positive things from their side if they want the rematch. You know, we have a chance here to do 80,000 people at Croke Park. This would be the most sensational event you could ever witness for women's sport, even for Irish boxing, you know, for world boxing. And I think they both really owe it to the public to give us a number two. But at the same time, of course, the terms have got to be fair and everybody's got to be happy. I know Katie's up for that fight. Amanda sounds like she's up for that fight as well. Let's see if Katie can take care of business on Saturday night and move forward with that fight.
Let's talk to me about the boom of female boxing. We saw Sky Sports boxer put on the Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall card. Obviously, Katie Taylor is doing her thing. It seems to be growing and growing. And
yeah, it's amazing, and you know, it's so good to see female fighters headlining big fights with, you know, I said earlier on Talksport, you know, you got Katie Taylor headlines against Serrano, you got Liam Smith against Jesse Vargas as co-main event. You know, even Saturday night, you got Katie Taylor against Carabajal, and you got Kiko Martinez against Jordan Gill underneath them. So they're there in their own right. This isn't about female boxing, male boxing. This is about them being good enough, big enough to stand there in their own right, and that's what they are.
How close do you reckon female boxing or the women in the sport are getting recognition in regards to when you look at UFC, for example, the promotion that, you know, that's put behind them?
Honestly, same. You know, I thought that Sky's promotion of Shields Marshall was great. You know, the promotion of Taylor Serrano was one of the best we've ever done. You know, people are invested in female fighters now, and you know, I think they're getting, you know, almost the same level of parity now in terms of promotion. We have to keep pushing, obviously, for equal pay when they're comparable in terms of their commercial value, and yeah, I think he's in a tremendous position.
Talking about Jake Paul fighting this weekend against Anderson Silva, what do you make of your good old mate Jake, and why do you see him getting on?
Yeah, I think you know, he gets a bit of stick because Silva's 48 or whatever he is, but you know, Silva's a very accomplished MMA fighter, decent striker as well. He's not a boxer, but I think it's definitely the toughest test that Jake Paul's had so far, and I think he should get credit if he wins. I expect him to win. I think he'll be too young and too fresh, and you know, I don't see him training, but I see clips of him, and I think he's going to be improving. You know, he's training hard, and you know, good luck to him on Saturday.
Talking about Talksport, Simon Jordan about a week ago called you a coward, saying you're not sort of answering the questions, or you're warding off the questions in regards to the whole Conor Benn Eubank thing. What do you want to say in regards to that?
Well, look, Simon. I mean, look, he's had a very brutal fall from grace, but he's very good at his new job on the radio, and I think, you know, he's there to be controversial. I mean, I heard him with Graham and Souness yesterday, and you know, no one's reached out to me personally to go on into his show. Laura Woods did for me to go on the breakfast show, and I went on this morning. You know, I'm not going to be rushing around to see Simon Jordan to give him views, but at the same time, never have a problem with answering his questions. He should know, and I think he will know, that certain situations legally require the fact that I'm not allowed to discuss it, and one of those was Conor Benn's upcoming case. I can't be talking on behalf of Conor Benn and prejudicing a hearing or a legal case. So there's some things I can say. I can't talk about the information that Conor Benn will release this week around his testing, but what I'm always prepared to talk about is the stuff that we're accountable for and the process that unfolded during that period with us and the British Boxing Board of Control and Ben and Eubank and etc. So never a problem to answer questions.
Looking back at that week, do you feel like there could have been a more clearer approach? We were back and forth with that fight. A lot of people have criticised you now in regards to the events of that week, even the fight going ahead. Looking back at it, do you feel like there could have been a different approach?
I think maybe on the Wednesday, you know, you have to understand that obviously it was a very, very difficult situation when you've got a situation contractually where, you know, the opponent has the opportunity to terminate the contract, but ultimately it's in the hands of the regulatory body, the British Boxing Board of Control. I can't cancel the fight at that stage. We go through a process. All the information was requested from the labs, extra information around the testing. they got to a point where the opponent was happy to proceed with a fight on all the scientific evidence that they had. But ultimately, it's up to the board. The thing that annoyed me the most is the length of time that the board took, because it looked like it was strung out for a period of time, and it was. I think if the board would have made a decision instantly or within 48 hours, no one would have been criticised. But because they took so long, and we got the information probably half an hour before you lot were sticking a mic in my face, maybe we shouldn't have been so bullish to say, no, we want to consider our options. We considered the options and decided, no, we have to go with the board's decision, the fight can't take place. This fight could have happened. We could have done it with another commission. I could have had an injunction which we would have won. We could have taken it to another country, but the board made the right decision. But they just took too long to make it, and I feel like it affected everybody in that process.
But the criticism that comes with you is that in the past you spoke about VOD testing being the premium testing for the industry. Even 2 weeks prior to that, you wanted that close in the Joshua Buatsi against Pascal fight. But now 2 weeks later, you're saying we'll stick with UCAD, even though VADA was...
I'm not never saying we stick to UCAD. In fact, we just implemented VADA testing for a number of our shows, including White Franklin. We pay extra money to do that. But obviously, some tests are done differently. The results are very different in certain situations. Ultimately, contractually, I'm not terminating this contract. It's down to the opponent to terminate the contract on a failed test, or for the board to not sanction the fight. The opponent's willing to proceed. The board, after 2 weeks, is not. So that's the reason the process took too long. I'm a massive advocate of VADA. I've spent millions of pounds on VADA testing over the years, and I still will continue to do so. Ultimately, what we need is a clearer jurisdiction as to who accepts what. The board have never accepted VADA testing, yet Conor Benn passes all his UCAD tests throughout the process of camp. So which one are you going to acknowledge? I believe they should acknowledge all of them, but that's not the position they've taken in the past. So we had to let them play out the process and let us know what they're going to do. They took 2 weeks to make that decision. Unfortunately, it came at a point on a Wednesday where, you know, it was so close to the fight that there was a lot more controversy around it than there should have been if they made a faster decision.
Cool. Thank you very much, Eddie.
Because we've got a big...